I'm Ryan Newman, and since I started with Indiana Donor Network and Driven to Save Lives, I found out that some people think that they can't be an organ donor. The truth is, anyone can sign up to be an organ donor.
Anyone?
Anyone?
Are you sure?
Yeah, I'm sure. Anyone can sign up to be an organ donor. So don't count yourself out because somebody's counting on you. Go to driventosavelives.org and sign up today.
But my heart's going to you, Ryan.
Love that shirt.
If there's one thing every car guy hates, it's cleaning the garage. Do you want to take most of the time and hassle out of that job? Then call Zone Garage of Eastern Pennsylvania and New Jersey. Agnes and her crew will have your garage, shop, basement, or even your porch looking great all the time. With unique patterns and designs, plus the ability to incorporate your logo or any artwork, your space will never have looked better. Installation is done in 1 day, guaranteed, and Zone Garage offers a 20-year warranty on the top coat. Their coatings are durable, anti-slipped, and impact resistant. Give them a call at 570-856-6067. That's 570-856-6067 for Zone Garage of Eastern Pennsylvania and New Jersey.
Ever hear the one about the frog? Put a frog in a pot of boiling water and it'll jump right out. But put a frog in a pot of cool water and slowly heat it up, and that frog will boil. It's a lie. But as a metaphor for us and all that we go through as veterans,
real-world experience.
It's a story that rings true. We make excuses for how we feel. We push everything down. We tell ourselves the lie that it's easier to stay in that boiling water, to disconnect. And some days, maybe, it is. But you've never been interested in easy. Reaching out is hard. Do it anyway. You're not alone. You've got this. You are not a frog.
Find resources at va.gov/reach.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the National Racing Network's live coverage of iRacing content here. And tonight it will be the Indy Pro 2000 Championship coming to you from the world's greatest race course, the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Tonight they'll be taking on the road course, 2.5 miles of, quite frankly, draft-locked insanity. My name is Chris Graham. It is a pleasure to have you hanging out with us, joined in the booth by James Watson. James, what are you thinking here? This has the potential to be draft locked. It could be a lot of things, quite frankly.
Yeah, it's a whole lot of something, that's for sure. Yeah, I don't know what to make of what we're going to be dealing with and what we're going to see. I know we sound like a broken record oftentimes when we talk about how draft heavy these cars are at a lot of the tracks on the schedule, but this is going to be even more draft heavy. Like, you're running out of gear pretty early around the straightaway and the final corner, so the draft is going to be huge. We're probably going to see a huge pack. I'm really interested to see how this is going to work, and then how they get through being that close together when you get into all the weird, not fun, twisty bits after. iRacing, please give us the rescan.
Yeah, that's kind of my thoughts on it as well here. Is let's bring up the tower and we'll give you the side-by-side look here, following along on the left-hand side of your screen with Graham Sanders. Ed Samborski going to be on the right-hand side. A very different look and feel. Turn one of the oval is the final corner of the road course here. This is basically the old F1 layout going back many, many years. That run from basically when you get onto the short chute, you're out of gear before you get to the yard of bricks. The same thing when you come through Holman Boulevard. That really means we're probably going to see a very big pack of race cars.
Oh, yeah. And I don't even know how people are going to really be able to make moves because you're going to be so out of gear. You can't really do anything with the draft after a certain point on the track because you literally cannot go any faster. So we mean it when we say we have no idea how this race is going to go. It's going to be a lot different than anything we've seen in our time broadcasting the SOF race, in theory. Now, knowing our luck, it's probably going to be a pretty normal, straightforward race because we're talking it up too much, and that's how it always goes for us. But I digress.
Well, the other kind of point that comes to that, though, James, is we haven't seen anything that resembles normal here. In fact, let's bring up our point standings here. This really is one of those things that we're starting to see the drop weeks come into play, and things are really starting to get crazy in terms of the championship standings. Graham Sanders sitting at 1,402 points. John Betafer, 44 back. David Porcelli, 52 back. Everett Paddock, 143 points back. But you really can't use that as a metric because you have to start factoring in the drop weeks. And we have guys that have already used potentially 2 or 3 of their 4 allotted drop weeks.
Yeah, and we still have the IMS Oval to go, which can very easily be a drop week for most everyone here. So, yeah, we don't know what's going to happen with points. Your guess is as good as ours, folks at home.
Taking a look here, Eric Molinatti checking in saying, let's go geodesic drivers, showing those guys a little bit of love. David Porcelli going to be the quickest around the racetrack right now at a 1 minute 21.986. Well, as soon as we say that, John Betafer goes to the top of the charts, 121.926. It's a 121.986 for David Porcelli. We'll continue to follow Graham Sanders and Ed Samborski here. Graham Sanders over the line to complete his second qualification lap. New quick time, top of the board, 1 minute 21.874. That's a pretty blistering lap. Let's pick up Chris Preston here in the number 8. The run through the short chute, hugging that white line. Ed Samborski going to come in 4th quick. Nicholas Daly currently sitting in the 6th position. And we'll pick up Johan Shirazi. He is currently 13th quick. I believe that is a Red Bull livery on that car. And we'll show you Daniel Neese here. He looks like he will be the last car to get qualification laps in here. John Betafer just coming across the line to complete his second qualification and lap, and he goes to the top of the board, 1 minute 21.653. That's a heater of a lap time around this place.
Wow, yeah, you're not kidding with that.
Let's pick up the onboard here with Daniel Neese. Oh, he's going to get the car off the racetrack a little bit. Loops it around. Oh, barely kisses the Armco barrier. He'll be able to get the car backed up and looped around. But now the difficult part becomes, are you going to get the lap in qualifications? Lap number 1 is just coming up here. He will not get 2 laps in the books. Just not enough time to complete those. Looks so odd running the corners of the oval that way. Going clockwise around the oval is just
sacrilegious.
It looks silly.
Yeah, he's going to have just barely enough time to do one lap.
So while Daniel Neese making his way around the racetrack, let's get you the information here and all the pre-race fun stuff out of the way. The Indianapolis Motor Speedway, located in the incorporated town of Speedway, Indiana, the mother church of auto racing. And if you want to argue someplace else, you're just wrong. 2.605 miles, 4.19 kilometers. 13 turns is the number of corners here on the road course. Facility originally opened in 1909. First hosted a balloon race as the first event, several for the motorcycles as well. By 1911, it was the home exclusively of the Indianapolis 500-mile International Sweepstakes race. And it wasn't until 1994, we'll say, officially, when NASCAR came to town, that's when the Speedway started seeing more than just a little bit of activity. Round number 9 for the Indy Pro 2000 Championship will be 23 laps in distance. Cautions are going to be local only, so no restarts, no overtime. When this race is done, it is finito. And with that, qualifications are done. It is time to go racing. Let some of the cars get out here onto the grid, and then we'll show you tonight's starting lineup. Starting on the pole with a lap time of 1 minute 21.653 seconds, it will be Michigan's John Badefer. Lining up to his outside, geodesic teammate, about a quarter of a second back, but they won't stay that way during the race. Driving the number 2, it is Graham Sanders. New Jersey's David Porcelli will occupy the inside of row number 3 alongside Ed Samborski, already about a half second back in qualifications. Ted Burns and Nicholas Daly on row number 3. Row 4 will see Mike Holler and Chris Preston. James Galloway and Benjamin Kopke on row number 5. Row 6 will have Frankie D and Simon Fell. Johan Shirazi and Daniel Neese on row number 7. And all alone on row number 8 will be Nagisa Yoshikawa. 15 cars making up this race. I believe either 29 or 30 was the number for the splits. Just waiting on the car of David Porcelli to get out on the grid. And as you can see, they will do a full pace lap of the Speedway. A lot of time to get things warmed up, and no surprise to see the geodesic cars on the front row here, James, but there's a lot of guys that are coming up from behind them that want to have something else to say about how this race is going to play out.
Yeah, I'm also curious to see how Yoshikawa is going to get back up here. He won X in both of his laps, so he's got it all to make up. I guess if you're going to have to start from the back and go for the last to first challenge, this is the one to do it at with all the draft help, but yeah, I don't know anymore.
Let's take a look, and we'll go on board here with Ed Samborski. He makes his way around behind the iRacing safety car. Turn number 1, there is so much potential for carnage, especially because turn 2 is such a quick left-hander that sweeps right back around. It's almost like a chicane in some respects. Before you get off to turn 3, the 90-degree turn 4. Turn 4 is not a terrible place to try to make a pass, but it's more an opportunity to set up the run through the very fast sweeping right-handed turn 5. Turn 6, one of the better overtaking opportunities on the racetrack.
Yeah, all I have to say is I'm just really glad we're not doing a standing start, so we don't have to worry about recreating the one time they did that here in real life with Indy cars.
I'll tell you what,
Yeah. Yeah.
I still argue IndyCar should use standing starts on road courses. But that's just
Chaos.
me. Coming out of the first set of twisty bits, you make the run down Holman Boulevard. Basically right in towards the Indianapolis Motor Speedway Museum before you snap back to the left. And then again, it's another quick left-right-hand combination before a very hard left-hand turn. The quick right starts to sweep you back out towards the oval part, and from here all the way to turn 1, you are completely full throttle. This is really where we're talking about the topping out becoming an issue, James. Is it's not that it's like, you know, towards turn 1 end of the speedway or something. You could be out of gear before you get to this 13th and final corner.
Yeah. So I really want to see how everyone here is going to deal with that.
We'll see the iRacing safety car make that hard left-hand turn. Field is on the front straightaway. Green flags in the air. We're underway at Indianapolis. Betafer looks like he's going to hold the lead. Big move up the inside by Mike Holler. Good run there. Ed Burns, Dave Porcelli going to be side by side, working their way through turn number 3. Betafer able to open up a pretty sizable gap here already. Graham Sanders not quite in defense mode, at least not defending the teammate. He's just defending his own position. That's about as ideal of a start as you could have hoped for if you were John Betafer.
Seriously. I doubt at this point he can be out of the draft range, but he's at least able to get through these corners and just kind of take a deep breath.
I'm seeing 1 1/4 seconds. In fact, 1 1/3 is now the gap. He's getting really close to outside of draft range. Now, everybody else is going to make a little bit more speed than he will. Early issues for Chris Preston and James Galloway. Let's take a look here at the Hot Shoe Racewear Instant Replay, see what happened. Oh, Preston just lost it.
Yeah.
That's surprising, to say the least. So continuing to follow along with race leader John Betafer.
Yeah, I think he's actually out of draft range.
That's absolutely insane to me, quite frankly.
What did I tell you? We spent the whole pre-race hyping it up to be some crazy draft fest, and yeah, John's out of draft range within literally the first lap. And so now we're going to see a lot less fighting from second onward, because they know they need to get their poop in a group to try to catch, again, as I say that.
Yeah, Porcelli having to peek to the inside. Porcelli setting a new fastest lap of the race at 1 minute 22.212 seconds.
Yeah, they're starting to claw a little bit back on John.
Just a little bit. And quite frankly, these are not even the slowest of corners, by the way.
Yeah, the slowest part of the track is when you get up to this little, they call it the mousier sections, Mickey and Minnie. It's not as fun as the name suggests.
Apologize for the technical issue there with the replays. Not sure what we had going on there, but not really a surprise here that we're seeing these guys play nicely here. They're going to have to do something if they want to catch up. The lead still sitting at about 1.5 seconds, and here comes Ted Burns up to the inside of Graham Sanders. Porcelli going to have the peak as well. Not quite close enough to attempt it. That would have been a big-time dive bomb into turn number 1, but move Ted Burns up to position number 2. Your top group is pretty close. The next group on the racetrack is going to be Nicholas Daly and Mike Holler.
Yeah, we're already seeing a heck of a lot of distance between everyone.
Yeah, quite frankly, a little bit surprised that we're seeing this much space opening up. So you have your 2, 3, 4, 5 battle on the left-hand side of the screen. The next one is going to be the fight between Daly and Holler, but that's sitting as a pretty decent gap as well. Let's pick up John Shirazi and Frankie D. They're nose to tail. But that's going to be the battle for the 9th position. Sanders going to have the look on Beta for here comes Porcelli. 3 wide down the front stretch into turn 1. Who's going to be the first to back out of it? It's not David Porcelli. What a move. Had the spot for a moment. Picks up 1. He's going to move up to P2. Ted Burns now back up to position number 3. Shuffles Graham Sanders all the way back to 4th.
Man, that's a nut up and ball out moment if I've ever seen one.
You ain't kidding. And Porcelli doing a hell of a job to keep the car online. Michael Joseph checking in the comments saying simply a difference in skill. I disagree with that one wholeheartedly. We've seen these drivers race nose to tail, multiple side-by-sides and everything else. I don't think John Betafer is pulling out because of skill. He made a hell of a getaway at the race start, and quite frankly, that put the entire race in his hands because now you're going to have this fight between Porcelli, Burns, and Sanders, and we'll add Ed Samborski into that one as well. There really is no way for these guys to do anything to try to catch up at all.
Nope. Yeah, obviously we know John is incredibly talented, but you have to give these guys their due. They are also incredibly talented. So it's not a difference in skill, really. It's just, you know, they were fighting a little too hard on the first lap, and that allowed John to get just enough to break the draft. And yeah, now he's able to pull it because they just can't make up any ground. Even as you saw them trying to be single file for a few laps, they weren't gaining anything. So now it's really just a battle of who can hold on to second, unless you get some crazy mistake from John, which is, let's face it, very, very, very unlikely.
Well, I was going to say, if we're going to talk skill, guys like John Betafer aren't making the solo mistake. If you see a mistake, it's made in the heat of battle, and that's about it. It's not like you're going to tip a wheel off somewhere and wad it up, especially at this racetrack. Oh, man. Graham Sanders is all over the place trying to find a way through, looking inside all the way down to the wall. Side by side is going to be Porcelli and Burns. They'll stay that way through 1 and 2. How about they'll stay that way through 3 and 4 as well?
And at least we got these four just going at each other to watch, because this is fun.
This is kind of what I expected to see. I didn't think we would see John Betaford take off to as big of a lead as he has, but the gap now up to almost 4 seconds over David Porcelli in second. Big dive up the inside coming from Ted Burns. He has to back out of it.
You have to wonder if Ed's just kind of chilling at the back going, yeah, I'm going to let them duke it out.
We're again going to go 3 wide into turn number 1. Graham Sanders will take advantage up to the inside of the racetrack. He'll grab second, dropping Porcelli back to third, Burns to fourth. Samborski still right there. Lap traffic filing in behind. That is the 14 of James Galloway. Seeing Simon Fell had an issue early in the race here as well. Simon currently running in the 15th position, but only working lap number 3, as your race leaders are now on lap number 8. Pull up your race leader on the right-hand side of your screen. He gone. 3.9 seconds now, the gap.
Yeah, this is just a Sunday drive for John. He is cruising.
It's almost like this would be more mentally challenging than fighting with the guys that you're used to fighting every week. I mean, he's literally been in a hot lap session about since the drop of the green flag.
To a point, probably not for someone of John's caliber, because, yeah, it can be a little alarming and unnerving when you do have a big lead like that, because then you start paying attention to stuff that you really wouldn't. And kind of start looking at the relative a little more. But for someone like John, who's in this scenario a lot more, not necessarily in the SOF nights, of course, but just in general, I don't think we have anything to worry about.
You talked a little bit about Nagisa Yoshikawa having to work his way up through the field. Nagisa currently up 7 positions to run in 8th, and he is only about 2/10 back of Mike Collar. They're also right there pretty much as well with Nicholas Daly. This is the second group of cars running behind, we'll say the lead pack, obviously, with John kind of being long gone here, but it does get to be intriguing. When does Ed decide that it's time to go and make the move? I mean, he could do it as late as the last lap if he wanted to, but I would imagine at some point, don't you get a little bit bored?
I mean, nah, not when you're in Ed's position looking at all that. That's never boring. And you're just kind of waiting for when it finally goes belly up and you have to dodge carbon fiber and whatnot. No, he's just 100% content to let them throw haymakers, maybe take themselves out, and kind of make the rest of the race easy for himself.
And it's not like we haven't seen that before. This has truly been a season of unpredictability. Again, another race, unpredictable, but it seems like, and as always, the same names are coming to the top of the list. This is the first race we've had, though, where we haven't seen any of the title contenders have an early issue. Outside of Galloway and Fell, we still have 13 cars on the lead lap.
Yeah, you're right. We haven't really had a race this season kind of go up to chalk. We've had at least one jaw-dropping, oh my god, I can't believe that happened moment. But we haven't gotten that tonight.
It's early.
Yeah, no kidding.
Oh, hold on to it, David. That car was flat sideways, full opposite lock.
Yeah, that's kind of what everyone is doing with this car on this track. You are running minimum wing, so you kind of have to drive it like that. You have to be able to hang it out because you're not going to have any aid from the wings to help you get around the twisted bits.
It very much seems like it's almost like how you would drive a go-kart around this place. Take the slow corners and just pitch it sideways, let the car kind of slide a tiny bit, get the outside, whatever the outside rear tire is to hook up, and then it's time to go.
Pretty much, yeah. That is a great comparison.
So we'll go 3 wide into turn number 1 again. Oh hum, let's do it again here, working lap. Oh, we've got a spinner. Ted Burns spins and goes off the racetrack. He's going to fall back down to the 6th position. There's the first of our drivers to have an issue.
Poor Teddy.
Take a look and see if we can see what happened here. Just the tiniest bit too much on corner exit, it looked like. Maybe got a little bit of help, but...
Yeah, we all were kind of waiting for that to happen some way. You're asking so much from the rear of the car getting out of that corner. It's slow speed. You're trying to stay ahead of whoever you're side by side. Now, the interesting thing is that Ed is on the verge of losing the draft up to these two.
Yeah, he's really going to have to push, and he made up 3/10 going into turn number 1. And the more that they battle, the more it's going to help. But now the fight's between Porcelli and Sanders for the runner-up position. The lead, by the way, up to 5.1 seconds between John Bedifer and David Porcelli.
Woo!
Was that trying to break the draft, or was that a big swing at opposite lock on corner exit?
Yeah, considering how sudden and violent that was, I'm gonna go ahead and say the latter. Yeah, that's not trying to break the draft, that's trying not to break your car.
Ed Samborski back within 0.6 of a second, so he will be able to take advantage of the draft down the front straightaway here. Porcelli grabs the position into turn number 1, but Graham Sanders not letting him get away, and now Sanders going to have to deal with Ed Samborski.
maybe we'll see Ed get a little more racy now that he can actually go 3 wide with everyone and not having to sit back behind the 3 wide.
Go on board with Graham Sanders here for the side-by-side. Out the front, out the back, he has got race cars everywhere trying to maneuver him around the Indianapolis Motor Speedway road course. For this weekend, it'll be the GMR Grand Prix of Indianapolis. Full day of action tomorrow. I think the entire road to Indy is in action tomorrow. USF 2000, Indy Pro 2000, Indy Lights, as well as practice and qualifications for the NTT IndyCar Series. Side-by-side battle into one. Ooh, they almost made contact. Sanders really up on the curbs there as well. Samborski has to swing a little bit wide. He's going to lose a little bit of ground. Tell you what, same move there from Porcelli. I wonder if that's not an attempt to break the draft, at least a little bit. Not sure that it's going to work, so potentially seems like a bunch of effort. Really cool to hear the tires absolutely screaming on Graham Sanders' car.
Yeah, Graham is driving. All of them are driving the absolute wheels off of it right now.
So down to 8 laps to go. John Bedifer holds on to the race lead by 5 1/3 seconds over David Porcelli. With the exception of Nicholas Daly and Ted Burns, there's nobody within a half second of each other. Sanders, big move up the inside of Porcelli. He'll get the move completed into turn 1. What's really fun to watch about this for me is that it's not a case of one car being faster than the other and potentially the slower car holding them up a little bit. Porcelli stays right there with them. This is about as evenly matched as you're going to see 3 race cars.
Yeah, they're all on pretty much the same wavelength here.
Is it more, when you're setting the car up for this, is it more of driver comfort type adjustments or driver preference type adjustments as opposed to outright looking for speed?
I mean, you're having to run minimal downforce because of the straightaway and the final corner. So when you have minimum downforce, there isn't going to be any comfort in the car for the driver. You're going to be on edge pretty much every corner. So outside of those adjustments, personally, I can't speak upon what else you can do to make it a little more comfortable, because yeah, I'm definitely not the one who works on these cars over at the team. I have no idea what I'm doing.
Well, yeah, it almost feels like it's the kind of deal where you're pushing a lot of rake into the car, so you're trying to get that rear wing out of the air as much as possible, obviously without giving up too much speed. As we see Graham Sanders slide a little bit wide, Ed Samborski is going to be tucked in behind David Porcelli. Porcelli thought about the outside move, backs the corner up just a little bit, tucks right back in line. Aspen Belvin checking in the comments, saying, "Let's go, John Shirazi." Let's give you a look at him here. We'll take a quick look at the onboard shot and show you where John is out on the racetrack. currently running in the 10th position. How about it? Ed Samborski with a big move down the straightaway. He was up to P2 for a moment. Going to fall right back to the 4th position as he's got Graham Sanders on the inside of the corner. Feels like now we're starting to get racy again here as we're down to 6 laps to go.
Yeah, I think Ed has had enough sitting back for now.
Almost one of the deals of like, it's my turn to play. You guys had your fun. And quite frankly, if you've been the guy who's sitting in line and not really pushing all that hard, that's a good way to force the opponent into a mistake when all of a sudden they've got a mirror full of you and they're hearing the spotter say that you're alongside.
Yeah, get lulled into a bit of a false sense of security, and then you go, oh man, now I have to deal with this guy.
Race leader John Bedifer over the start-finish line, ticking us down to 5 laps to go at the world's greatest race course. This racing has been absolutely epic, and we've got another one coming up on Tuesday night. The Vintage Indianapolis 500 coming up at 9 p.m. in the East on the Oval. It's only going to run about 2.5 hours because it's going to be an Enduro. The DW12, IR09, Lotus 79, Lotus 49, and the Sprint Car running a multi-class race here at the Speedway. Shoot us a message in the comments if you're interested in participating. We'll get you the link to the Discord. The race was absolutely epic last year. We may not even broadcast it this year because it looked like too much fun to drive. And quite frankly, I want to play a little bit. But we'll see. Maybe it may. Oh. All right. Getting me back for screwing up the interview at the end of the Ezra IndyCar Series race here. Let's pick up the battle here with John Shirazi and Frankie D. That's actually a pretty good fight here. A little bit deeper in the pack. Shirazi currently running in 10th. D trying to take that position from him. Everybody else is multiple seconds apart here as we're again 3 wide into turn 1. Man, Samborski almost like he has to make turn 1 a little bit faster, just the tiniest bit quicker. Because the advantage that he gains down the straightaway, he gives right back in the switchback to turn 2.
Yeah, that's the one bad thing about having to try it from 3 wide outside is you have so much more ground you have to cover for that. Oftentimes, especially in corners like that, you're not really going to be able to pull off getting both. The best case scenario is you might be able to get one depending on if someone has better sense and goes, I'm going to pull out of this.
John Shirazi doing a nice job of holding off Frankie D here as well.
Yeah, Frankie isn't really able to get much of a run on Johan going down into turn 1.
You almost wonder if there's a little bit of damage on D's machine. Don't necessarily see anything real obvious. I mean, it's a little bit longer of a shot, but once again, we're going back 3 wide. This time, Samborski thinks better of it, tucks back in line. Porcelli to the inside. Sanders to the outside. Oh, they almost make contact in 1. Sanders throws it right back in. Porcelli to the inside through 3. What a battle this is here for 2nd, 3rd, and 4th. And our race leader, John Bedifer, getting absolutely no love. We'll pull him up here on the right-hand side of your screen as he's down to 3 laps to go.
Yeah, I believe in this case, though, John is very happy not getting any screen time.
Yeah, that means there's nobody that's coming to play at this point.
Yeah.
And quite frankly, it has the potential to be a very big win from a points perspective as well. And we talked about the quality of the field. How about an average I rating of 41.92 or a field I rating of 41.92? That is absolutely monstrous.
It's astronomical. Like Kylo Ciacelli didn't even make top split. That's how deep this race is right now.
Once again, back 3 wide into turn number 1. 2 to go here at IMS. It's going to be Graham Sanders holding on over Porcelli and Samborski. Quite frankly, by breaking away from the front of the field as big as he has, John Bedifer's also sort of eliminated the potential of catching lap traffic as well. A couple of cars are potentially within range, but you're still talking about a 10-second gap to find Chris Preston. And with only about a lap and a half to go, really not much in the way of traffic for race leader John Bedifer to deal with either.
No, like outside of having to pass the cars that were involved in the earlier incident, Galloway and Simon Fell, he's haven't had to deal with anybody. He's still another round, couple seconds away from even getting Chris Preston, who's the last car on the lead lap.
White flag is out. 1 lap to go here at Indianapolis. Preston and Sanders again going to go 2 wide through 1 and 2. Oh, Porcelli, I should say, slides it a little bit wide through 2. That's going to allow Sanders to escape, but it's going to bring Ed Samborski right back into the picture as well. Couple of more chances for Porcelli and Samborski to go after Graham Sanders. One of them will come here at the end of the Holman straightaway, and then it'll be the drag race to the line. For your race leader, it has been smooth sailing this entire race. Already back out onto the short chute. Twin checkers are in the air. John Bedifer gets a huge win at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Here's the drag race to the line. It's going to be Graham Sanders holding on by what looks to be 0.04 of a second over David Porcelli at the line. Second, third, and fourth all finishing within 3 or 4 tenths of a second. What a race by Graham Sanders, David Porcelli, and Ed Samborski. I almost want to ask Graham, and maybe we will in the post race here, but you almost want to ask what happened on lap 1. It was really kind of an odd thing how Bedifer was able to just absolutely check out.
Yeah, he just barely got that last little bit of gap he needed.
Bedifer does a couple of quick donuts, and then he is going to back out here. Still waiting for the last couple of cars to finish their laps. Let's pick up Let's see. There we go. Now we got everybody over the line. And we'll show you your race results here this evening. John Bedifer getting a monstrous win, 8.3 seconds over Graham Sanders. David Porcelli about 300ths away from the second step on the podium. He'll be a happy man, though, coming home third tonight. Ed Samborski and Ted Burns round out your top five. Nice recovery drive there by Ted Burns to get back up into the top five. Nicholas Daly, Nagisa Yoshikawa, Mike Holler, Daniel Neese, and Johan Shirazi in the top 10. Frankie D, Benjamin Kopke, Chris Preston, James Galloway, and Simon Fell will round out your 15 car field here this evening. We'll take a look here and see who we've got ready to go in the interview room. And let's start things off with our race winner tonight, Mr. John Bedifer. And John, what did you do differently than everybody else at the start of this thing? Because you were just gone.
I think I just got lucky. I was really working hard to warm up the tires on the pace lap, and hopefully maybe that was the difference. I know Graham and David got a little side by side behind, and it allowed me to break the draft. So that allowed me to kind of build a little bit of a gap, and then they started battling, and it just expanded the lead. So
yeah, it was a really impressive drive, and the question that I asked James at one point during the mid race was, is it more mentally taxing when you don't have anybody battling? You come into the night expecting to fight for a race win, and all of a sudden you're hot lapping for 25 laps.
Yeah, I especially felt it probably the first 4 or 5 laps when I only had maybe a 1.3 second gap or so, because I knew one mistake would bring everyone back in the draft and make my night a lot more difficult. So I kind of muted everything and just focused on my marks and built a little bit more of a gap, and then, fortunately they started battling. So,
well, I tell you what, bud, congratulations on picking up the win here in the Indy Pro 2000 Championship. Nice way to have the month of May kick off for you here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. So congratulations once again on the win here, and make sure we get all those sponsor plugs and thank yous in.
Yeah, just want to thank you guys for the broadcast. As usual, it's always fun to watch back. I want to thank Alpine Stars, Geodesic Racing, Wave Italy, Alma Legato, GSI, racing on my GXL tonight, and it was a dream to drive. So thanks, guys.
All right, buddy. Thank you very much. We appreciate you checking in with us here. And let's bring in Graham Sanders, our runner-up finisher here tonight. If teammate John Bedifer was long gone, you were in a dogfight for 23 laps. Tell us what that was like, battling with David, Edward, and Ted also at the beginning.
Oh man! First, a huge congrats to John. He drove a flawless race today. No, that race was intense from start to finish. That was some of the closest and most fun racing that I've had in a really long time, if ever. I mean, there were 4 cars battling for P2 for a third of the race, and then unfortunately Ted lost it. I'm not sure if there was contact or something, but yeah. And then after that, it was a 3-way battle all the way to the end. It was a blast.
At one point, I made mention of the fact that it looked like through some of the slower portions of the racetrack, it looked like you guys were driving go-karts. Kind of pitch it sideways and just let the momentum carry you through the turn. We saw a ton of counter steer and opposite lock moments from everybody. How much fun is it to drive the car when it's like that, when it's not exactly planted and you really kind of have to hustle it around?
Oh, it was a blast. I've said this numerous times. This is one of the most fun cars on the service, hands down. It's really lively, but it's really predictable. You can really control it pretty well. But the first few minutes of practice today was a freaking nightmare, because you're on pretty much no wing, and you're fighting the car. It took me 10 laps to figure out how to drive the thing around here. But once you get it down, it is a blast. So much fun.
Well, I'll tell you what, bud, very nice second place finish. Congratulations on that one. And before we let you go, get all those sponsor plugs and thank yous in.
Yeah, of course. I just want to thank the team. Alpine Stars, GSI, Wave Italy, GoPro, everybody, John, of course. And of course, you guys, as always. Thanks, guys.
All right, buddy. Thank you very much. We appreciate that. And let's bring in our third place finisher tonight here, Mr. David Porcelli. And David, once again, putting up a hell of a show for us here. Tell us about the night, about the battles, and ultimately coming up 0.03 of a second short at the line.
Yeah, I really thought I was going to be able to get around him, whether he was in front of me or not, because I had such a straight line advantage, but looked like he was able to figure it out just at the end there. I'm getting towards the end of the season, doing everything I can here, and I'm just going to keep trying.
Well, I'll tell you what, that's we're looking to see if the points have updated yet. They have updated. John's sitting at 1560, Graham at 1492, you're at 1434. The reality is you're within one SOF race, and we still have 3 big races to come. Spa, the Speedway, and Watkins Glen, plus we're factoring in the drop weeks. This really is still anybody's championship.
Yeah, absolutely, and it's going to come down to these last 3 races. So I'm glad to see that my pace is where it needs to be, and hopefully the starts will shake my way, and I'll be able to come home with a couple of wins and secure this championship. I'm really trying my best here.
All right, David. Well, thank you very much. We appreciate you checking in with us here. And before we let you go, get all the sponsor plugs and thank yous in.
Yeah, thanks a lot to my competitors. We always put on a nice show. It's really a pleasure racing these guys. Some of the best fun I've had on the iRacing service. Thanks to the competitors. Shout out to the sponsors, Team Watson Racing, Racecraft One Indianapolis. Hi to the family, and thanks to you guys for putting on such a great broadcast every week. And I'll see you next week.
All right, buddy. Well, thank you very much. We appreciate you checking in with us. I love the confidence, by the way. I will see you next week. That is absolutely awesome. But I tell you what, James, as we get ready to wrap things up here, not the race we necessarily thought we were going to see, at least for the race leader, but that second, third, fourth, fifth battle was everything we could have asked for.
Yeah, they definitely kept us entertained while John just went and hot lapped it for 23 laps. Yeah, I told you we didn't have any idea on what to expect coming into tonight, and we were right. We didn't expect that.
Yeah, that was the farthest thing from it. Now, next week, we're going to go back to being a little bit predictable, at least from the unpredictability standpoint. We're heading off to the Circuit de Spa-Francorchamps in Liège, Belgium. That place is a little bit similar to this in that the draft plays a huge role. And quite frankly, it's, I would say, a little bit more of a skill track than what we saw out of the Speedway here tonight. But the reality is, unless the leader gets a crazy start like John got tonight, we're going to have another monster battle at the front.
Yeah, I mean, just look back at last season where Teddy just barely won the race by like a quarter of a wing at the line.
Yeah, it was a ton of fun, and quite frankly, we're looking forward to doing it once again next week. And with that, it is going to be time for us to get the heck on out of here. A lot of fun this week here on the National Racing Network. Next week is going to be a blast as well, and we're not done for this week yet either. Coming up on Sunday, it will be the Pizza at the Pagoda watch party for the GMR Grand Prix of Indianapolis, and then bucketfuls of coverage. Once we head over to the Oval, we'll still call it the month of May, the couple of weeks of May. Coverage of practice, qualifications, and the 106th running of the Indianapolis 500. We can't wait to bring it to you. But until then, it's time for us to get out of here for this evening. For James Watson and everybody here at the National Racing Network, my name is Chris Graham. Thank you very much for hanging out with us. We will talk to you all soon. Have a great night, everybody.